Today's episode of Daily Persuasion is going to be uncomfortable in all the right ways. I, of course, am Joshua Lisec, the New York Times bestselling author and co-author, ghostwriter of 98 now nonfiction books, and a certified hypnotist. Through this unique experience set, I teach you how to better influence the VIPs of your life and your career. You have no doubt heard about Shiloh Hendrix at this point. There is the viral video coming out of Minnesota of this mother, single mother, it looks like, with her child, a allegedly young boy, looks like a young black boy, steals something from her diaper bag. And there is what turns out to be a Somali immigrant who is also a pedophile, known pedophile, filming this incident. And she rejects all decorum in her response to these individuals. And it is, of course, now internet famous what happened next. She used inappropriate language, and the result was she has been doxxed, harassed, threatened, all the things you could possibly imagine for insulting. No, it was obviously crass, and we shan't repeat it here and now. What happened as a result? Roughly 48 hours later, she's on track for more than $500,000 raised for her crowdfunding, Help Me Protect My Family. And it is in large part a backlash towards the $500,000 that Carmelo Anthony's family raised after he, of course, stabbed Austin Metcalf in the heart over a seat that he had taken of Austin's. And Austin initially asked him to get up, and he wouldn't. And Austin did what he thought was right to send the kid packing, as was appropriate from what we understand. And he stabbed him in the heart, and he brought a knife onto school property. And this individual has become a hero of his community, the heart stabber. And this situation we're seeing now unveiling over Shiloh Hendrix, there is a false equality happening. There is a false, let's say, equanimity happening. And we saw it most recently, and perhaps most profoundly, with an opinion posted by Riley Gaines, the right-wing influencer who's done a number of events with Donald Trump era, let's say, world influencers. And she posted the following. She said, Riley Gaines said, "That lady has raised $225,000 so far," she posted early Friday morning. "Are we joking? We don't need a white Carmelo Anthony." This is the problem. In the United States, we have free speech. We don't have free killing. What this woman, Shiloh, said is certainly unbecoming, and it's also not illegal. It's crass, and it's not illegal. It's offensive, and it's not illegal. This is the left-wing frame, that speech is violence, that the presumption is using a racial slur equals cold-blooded murder. And that is the frame that Riley and other people in the reasonable center, and also the sort of the woke light, which are basically sort of like conservatives who really believe in this sort of rules-based international order. They're anti-nationalists. They're openly globalists, and we need more immigration because of the birth rate, blah, 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 blah. America is just an idea. Vivek Ramaswamy would be one of the woke light in this regard. This is a situation that's happening right now. And the persuasion insight here, I want to zoom out to note how frames work. What Riley Gaines has done is taken the left-wing frame. And this is what so very, very rarely is talked about. In this story and in other stories, like wait a second. She's saying that calling someone in the N-word is literally just the same as stabbing someone in the heart. Now, she, of course, was called out on that and tried to backtrack, but it was too late. We got you, Riley. So often when there's disputes or there's disagreements or there's a story, there is an implicit frame of authority that's been placed upon the story that you're allowed to argue within. So, for example, one left-wing talking point has been consistently over the years has been immigrant rights, immigrant rights, immigrant rights. And when they say that, they're talking about illegal immigrants. They're talking about sort of migrant workers. Wait a second, you've committed a federal crime. Why are we talking about your rights? Due process, as President Trump said. Yes, we have a process to get them out of the country. They're entitled to the due process of being deported. Absolutely. Right. That's what the frame break is. Sometimes sarcasm can break a frame. Very simply, it's calling someone a slur is like literally as bad as stabbing someone in the heart for the same reason. Wait, what? No, it's not. Oh, so we broke the frame. Sometimes a little bit of sarcasm. There's a story I'm familiar with. In fact, it's a recurring story. You might be familiar with this. There are people who are in, let's say, mixed religion relationships, in mixed philosophy relationships. There's an old joke from the 90s that when a guy dates a vegetarian, he's vegetarian now. And you might have heard of relationships where, and it's usually the guy who does this, the guy like completely changes who he is to make his woman happy. You generally don't see the opposite, or at least it's very socially disproved of. They'll talk about how, if a woman changes herself for the man that she either dates or marries, then, she sacrificed her identity and herself, and she needs some girl power. She needs to own her voice and be an own independent woman, blah, 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 blah. But when a man does that, when a man becomes vegetarian or vegan for his woman and explicitly and exclusively for that reason, it's a win for all womanhood. It's feminism. It's revenge, because men need meat, obviously. And for a man to give up his manhood via his nutrition change, what has just been revealed? That's feminism. And oftentimes it happens without the man realizing that that's the game he's just agreed to playing with her. Now, let's suppose that the man decides maybe his testosterone is really low, and so he needs to actually eat, real whole food for once. And she then says, no, you're not allowed to eat eggs. No, eating eggs. Like, well, what if I just eat this type of egg? Well, no, that's you're literally supporting factory farming. Do you really want to be responsible for killing all those animals? You're animal killer. You're a life killer, right? You're eating dead animals. So it's that frame, right? Like, that's gross. Like, look at the carcass on the side of the road. You're so appetizing. Put some barbecue sauce on that. Ew, yummy. That's how they play. So what is the frame that is playing here as they bicker back and forth, husband and wife, of which eggs he may or may not, she is not okay with having in the house? The frame is his body, her choice. She is the authority over what he's allowed to eat. She is the authority of the home. Let's say maybe they both work jobs, and so they both put towards the mortgage. That's as if saying, that's like, even though he's paying for the mortgage in part, he doesn't actually own the home. She decides what happens inside the home. Reverse the roles. If a man was saying that to a woman, you can't eat those foods, she would probably be able to get him arrested for any number of charges that he could actually probably be voted, or he would probably lose at trial over, have to take a crappy plea deal, be on parole, perhaps related to exploitation, kidnapping, domestic violence, domestic abuse, if it was a man doing that to the woman. So when you reverse the roles in this way, you realize just how messed up a situation is, and you can break the frame. It's a sobering lesson, but it's one that is necessary for us to consider as we go out into the world and we are told things without context for, wait a second, are those things actually even true? And if they're not, how would I know they're not? A little bit of questioning. So if you can reverse the roles like I've just shown with the hypothetical vegan spouse's story, and you can use a little bit of sarcasm, like and also in that example, his body, her choice, right? Because it's like my body, my choice is like what feminists always say regarding abortion and their obsession. They're sort of their well, it is truly an obsession, but it's also the psychological need of having optionality to abort the inferior liberal male's seed and his potential offspring, and not having the optionality. And I've talked about this, and that seems to be taking off. And other people are recognizing that that's really what it is. It's anti-male, anti-liberal eugenics program is what abortion is. In any case, it's a sobering lesson for today. But when something feels off to you, something just doesn't sound right, if you do those techniques, the sarcasm and then reverse the roles in the situation, you realize, oh, there is a manipulative frame that I am being forced to adopt. And if I simply use these two techniques, I can break that frame and be free. As C.S. Lewis wrote, the gates of hell are locked from the inside. Take these keys, use them, and see yourself out.